do not stress about the 22 and the 21 because winter we were both unemployed and there was nothing to do except the ministry of the bedroom. We are also grandparents of 2, which are twins. They are 4 years old now. And I can say it has been a journey being together, but it also was fun. And we also together working with Dr. David Molapo as our mentor and our leader. He has really stretched us, Dr. D. I just want to say openly that you've stretched us. When we came into this organization, I only had my matric because I dropped out of college. And from there, he saw potential that I did not see. And he started stretching out. I already started explaining the question that he has asked me. And he stretched us to a point that I didn't want to take his calls when he called me. Because I knew that the first thing he's going to ask me is going to stretch me. But I can say with all humility and with a happy heart that we are where we are today because of how God used you in our lives. Today we have a platform of relationships. It's a love therapy, couples fellowship. We have a following of 27,000 people simply because of somebody believed in us when we did not even believe in ourselves. And that's how a healthy mindset starts. And you know, my brother who spoke about the power of the mind, I think before you leave we have to meet and talk because I believe in learning. And I believe that I'm a student. You know, my son asked me a question. He said, do you know why actors are rich? And I wanted to say, no, because they're being exposed. And he says, no, it's because they act. So when you act on knowledge, that's how you succeed. You can have a good recipe of muffins and laminate it and put it on your refrigerator. And when people visit you, you share with them what those muffins will taste like when you take them with coffee. But if you are not applying that recipe, it will just be a recipe. So a healthy mind, when I joined the ICANN Foundation, there's a book called If You're Not Growing, You're Dying, what Dr. David was sharing about this morning. The first 2 chapters, they talk about the mind, the brain, and the power of the mind. How the mind, you know, God created us and he gave us a gift, and that gift is called the mind. The mind is so powerful. You are where you are today because of your mind. If you don't have money, it's not the devil, it's not the thieves, it's nobody, it's not apartheid, it's your mind. For as far as you can see, that's how far you can go. And the mind is so powerful, and unless you develop to be healthy, your mind can kill you. Your mind can make you sick. There's something called the psychosomatic illnesses, sicknesses that are caused by the mind. The mind is the central voice in the human body. If the mind says, I can't, you will never achieve it. And that's why the company that I'm working for, it's called I Can. It's a mind shift, it's a paradigm. And a paradigm is something that has been installed as a program inside of you from the day you were born until age 6. So after that installation, that program is controlling you. Right now, you're only using 5% of the mind, which is the one that is interpreting what we are saying, the colors that we are wearing, whether we are tall, short, and whatever. It is only 5%. But the remaining 95% is called the subconscious mind. It's a program. And what we call a habit, Dr. D, is when the body becomes the mind. The body has done so many times what you've been thinking. Now you're no longer thinking, you are just doing it. So the body has just become the mind. Most of us, we are drivers. When you started driving, you were so careful, you kept both hands on the steering wheel. But after some time, the body became the mind. And now the body is the one that is driving the car. You can even answer your cell phone and talk to people and not even focus on the road because of the body has now become the mind. Now, what am I saying? A lot of us are addicted to so many things. We limit addictions to pornography, alcohol, smoking, and whatever. But some people are addicted to anger. Some people are addicted to frustration. If they work throughout the day without being frustrated, they become worried. Why am I not frustrated? Because of you are already addicted to that. Some people are addicted to anger. You are on traffic every time at 7 until 8. Even the day you're not going to work, between 7 and 8, you are angry. And you ask yourself, why am I angry? The body says you're supposed to be in traffic. You should be angry by now. So yes, you have developed that mentality, that mindset, but now it has become a negative one. And it is the one that is taking charge. Let me give a funny example. If you are from a bad relationship, and then all of a sudden, you break up with that partner and you get a new partner, somebody who's good to you. But because of you are addicted to fight, you start fight with this new person who does not know anything about fighting with you because it has become an addiction. So all these things are just programs in the mind. And sometimes they can be so dormant, you don't even know that they are there. I normally say to people, you think you are a good person, get married. You think you are nice, get married. Your partner is there to provoke or to test what God has implanted in you. God uses your partner to check that, to test if you know the capabilities that you have. Being married is the ability to love an unlovable person on a daily basis and to practice how to love this person. There's the power of being in a relationship, the power of marriage. And a lot of people, they fail in that space because they think marriage is just honey, lovey-dovey. No. Marriage is a space where God checks the abilities that He has planted in you. That can you use them? Can you be patient? You thought you were patient until you got married. So, what conflict does to a relationship is to expose you to you. Conflicts are good. They are there just to expose you to yourself. You thought you were a nice person. Now you discovered that you are not patient anymore. You have a hot temper. You thought it was cold until you got married. So, a healthy mindset is a mentality. It's a way of thinking. You know why they call it a mindset, Dr. D? When you take jelly is just like liquid and you put it inside of a bowl. And when it takes the shape of a bowl, we say that jelly has set. Then it becomes a mindset. Your mind has set on top of negativity. Even if you break the mold and the bowl, the jelly will still maintain the shape.
Let me add on that, because
yes,
you always teach about this thing of poverty, about this subconscious thing, because you've got millionaires here, but if you've got a poverty mindset, you'll not be able to progress. What people don't know about you, you used to do what? Then we'll come to that.
I used to steal and hijack cars. And please relax, I'm here. Your car can't vanish, I'm still here. And it was a mindset, because we grew up knowing that you can't be rich unless if you are stealing. If somebody drives a nice car, there's something is wrong there. So I wanted that wrong thing because I wanted to succeed. So it was a mentality. And that's how I got into that career.
The poverty mindset.
Yes, sir.
You can be a billionaire and millionaire, still have a poverty mindset. Talk to us about that programming that's like the autopilot. Then we'll do the last question on T. Go ahead.
Now, poverty is not the absence of money. Poverty is a way of thinking. It's also a mindset. Poverty is a mind that always thinks scarcity. Even though you have money, but you think scarcity, to say, you have millions, but in your mind, you already prepare yourself that when this money is finished, what am I going to do? When the money is there already. So it's a way of thinking.
Give an example, because for Travel Bella, there my buddies on.
Okay.
What do you want to go to Dubai? Come on, guys, Travel Bella, I'm trying my best for you. Listen to this one. Listen to this one.
All right, there's something called cybernetics, psycho-cybernetics, psycho meaning the mind. Cybernetics meaning a system of controlling things. Those who are in IT, they should understand it better. Now, the psycho-cybernetics is a mentality that helps to control how your life is going to unfold. In an aircraft, cybernetics is called an autopilot. When the aircraft is flying and the pilot just clicks on that autopilot, he can leave the cockpit and mingle with people. And if there's a turbulence that really takes the aircraft off course, that thing is going to pick up, it has sensors, it will pick up that the aircraft is no longer on course. Then it will change the wings of the aircraft and increase the thrust on the engine to bring the aircraft back on course. Now, if you have a poverty thinking or a poverty mentality, and it happens that you win 100 million or whatever millions that you win on lottery or whatever, or whether you get a business somewhere, then you get that 100 million. Now, the mind will pick that up. That psycho thing is going to pick up that deviation, that there's a turbulence. And it's going to help you to squander that money so that it can bring you back to course. Until you lose all that money. And when you hit, maybe your cost is 20,000. When you hit 20,000, you come back to your senses and then you are back on course. So that thing is going to protect you from becoming a millionaire or a billionaire. Even if there's a billionaire deal that comes your way, it will bring sensors to say this is a scam, so that you can be protected from that type of world. And it's a mentality. Remember, it's a mentality. The mind is so powerful that it sends signals. Right now, when you are sitting here and you are a person who's successful in your mind, you are a billionaire in your thinking, not in your pockets, not in your bank, in your mind. Remember that money is not paper. Money is not the digits in your account. Money is you. So already in you, there is this wealth that will be transmitted through your thinking. You are thinking abundance. That is why you don't need to be a millionaire to give a million. You give a million before the money even comes.
Yeah.
So these things start to send signals out of the mind. And it will chase anybody who wants to help you to become a millionaire if you're a poverty person. It will chase them away. But if you are already thinking that way, it will start to draw those people towards you. And now, when the people come into your life, your heart, remember that there has to be a relationship between the heart and the head. And that's why the Bible says, can two walk together until they agree? You cannot. If there's a disagreement between the two, still, if you have good thoughts, and you make good confessions, but when the heart is right, the heart it's a field.
Yeah.
The heart is a field. It can repel people or it can attract people. So when you read the Bible talks about the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden is the mind.
Sure.
So that's why I said the Bible is not a religious book, it's a psychological book, because it is psychology that determines destiny. It is psychology that determines biology. You can get sick by just thinking. You can succeed by just thinking, because thoughts are commodities. And where do you exchange those commodities? In the mind. Because of the mind is a soil. The mind is like a womb. It does not know the sperm of a rapist or a boyfriend or husband. When sperm comes in, it's just produce.
Yeah.
So if you get negative information, the mind just works on that negativity and causes you to be negative. If you receive positive information, the mind turns that sperm into a reality, into a situation or an event in your life.
That's what Dr. Beck teaches. As you said, he was a former hijacker, and again, as a leader, you must see potential in people. You must see what?
Potential.
And he and other team members are a blessing to the whole world. Last question, Brother Dan. Today, we are not growing because of dysfunctional teams. Ausnelli is here and the other team. Tati Mashian, is Tati Mashian here? Just raise your hand. Tati Mashian is there as our student. Ausnelli is here. You came. This is supposed to be your lesson tonight, so we're going to have it live here, because they're students doing wonderful work. One of the reasons why, as team members, whether it's a small organization, big organization, politics, religious organization, is the absence of trust. Because leaders don't want to be vulnerable. And if leaders cannot be trusted, they cannot trust, then some of them is because they avoid conflict. They want to be nice to people. And I always teach that leadership is not about impressing people, but it's impacting people. Okay? Why is teamwork important, particularly during this time, if we want to grow our organizations?
Remember that coffee never knew it could become a beverage until hot water came. So,
Rewind, somebody there to hear that again. I hope you're listening, young lady. You heard that. This is the new generation. I really rewind and thought, go back.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Coffee never knew it could become a beverage until hot water came. Because remember, how coffee was done before, not today, how coffee was done before, it was those coffee beans that were supposed to be poured inside of a pot, and they add water and they put it on fire so that the hot water can pull out the potential out of the coffee bean. And coffee never knew it could be white until milk came. And also it never knew it could be sweet until sugar came. So all these things, when the Bible says the two shall become one, it did not say the two shall become the same. Meaning, in any relationship, you should not be swallowed. We should taste you when we get into an organization. We should not feel that you are here in an organization. So, what Teams does is that somebody is going to be so harsh, just like you, Dr. D, to pull out that potential out of the coffee.
I think it's you who said, I'm not a mentor, I'm a tormentor sometimes. And I think that's what faith sometimes describes, that a mentor is fine, but I need to torment you.
Oh, yes.
Mentoring is good, said Peace, but from mentoring, you must also be a tormentor. Because sometimes you need to pull things out, Dr. Paul, of people you believe in them, but sometimes they don't believe in themselves.
Yeah.
Prof, so that you don't even like. Ashley, there are certain people that you need to do certain things, and then they will thank you later. Most of the time, they thank you later.
The thing with leaders, Dr. D, is that leaders can see potential, but the person
it's water here, that's okay.
Who's supposed to be led, they don't see that potential. So it is important for a leader not to lose heart in pulling out the potential. Okay? So, coffee, for it to be an enjoyable beverage, there are components that needs to be applied to get it right. And that is why we need a team. I don't care as a father how much kids you love. Without a wife, you cannot never have those kids. Because we need a team to be productive. So what makes dysfunctional teams, it starts with insecurities. An insecure leader is a leader without information. It's a leader without knowledge. Because in any absence of knowledge, fear takes the role, takes the lead. It leads you. You are led by fear because you do not have enough knowledge and information. So how I use the analogy of a beverage is that if coffee hated hot water, then it will stay as a coffee bean for the rest of its life. So there are people that when you hate in your life, you will never become you. Because God put something that belongs in me in somebody else. So we need each other. God put some of the potential that I need in you in somebody else, so that when we start to appreciate one another, that is where we can start to grow as a team. Now, it's insecurities. Number two, it's ego. There's nothing wrong with ego. Ego it's like engine, it's your power. But it needs to be placed at the correct place. Have you asked yourself a question that why do they put engines at the back in a sports car? And in a normal car, they put it up front. It's because of when the engine is behind, that's where your ego is. You can manage it, you can control it, and it's called humility. If you put it in the front, it becomes pride, it pulls you.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with ego. Ego needs to be placed at its right place. Because if the prodigal son did not have that ego, he will still eat with pigs up to date. But it's your ego that will tell you, I cannot eat with the pigs. My father owns wealth. So a lot of people, they struggle with ego because of it's misplaced. Okay? Lastly, it's temperaments, our emotions. And I've done quite an extensive study on emotions. Emotions are powerful. It requires only 15% of IQ to succeed in anything that you are doing. But the remaining 85%, it's all emotions. You can have an IT guru, somebody that the whole world is crying for. But if they cannot control their emotions and they don't have interpersonal skills, they'll be jumping around jobs. Why do we have road rages? It's emotions. Somebody's angry from home, and now somebody, a taxi driver, cuts you, then you start to stop in the middle of the road, you want to fight. Then people, they don't even know who's the doctor and who's a taxi driver because of emotions. So if you can know how to manage your emotions and the emotions of a team, then as a leader, you start by managing your own emotions first before you can manage the emotions of others. And that's how we succeed as a team, because of if emotions are not properly guided, remember we need emotions. Your passion comes from your emotions. How you love a person comes from emotions, but when emotions are not governed, they govern you. You become the slave of your own emotions. There's nothing wrong with anger. Anger is a neutral emotion. It depends on how you use it. You can be angry and break the dishes, or you can be angry and wash the dishes. It's up to you. It's a choice. You have a choice. So it is up to how you manage those emotions. So it is important, Dr. D, as leaders, if we want to have a healthy team, we have to have healthy emotions and know how to use our emotions safely. Because let me give an example, and I'm going to hand over to Dr. D. If you want to know what you are busy creating in your mind, check your emotions. Emotions are just a feedback mechanism to say you are creating something wrong or something right. If you feel that joy and happiness inside of you, it's a sign that you are busy creating something good in your mind. If you have negative thoughts and you are busy creating something negative in your spirit, you'll feel negative emotions. Have you noticed that? Can we face this side? These guys are doing their job. I know I'm not that handsome, but please can we look this side? If you have a negative emotion, it's a feedback mechanism that you are busy creating something negative. Because remember, your mind, that is where you create, in the mind. That's where imagination is. That's where visualization is, Dr. D. The things that you teach in your books, visualization. And the Bible says, while the earth remains, seed time, harvest shall not cease. Meaning, as long as you are living inside of this thing, this is your earth. You are living inside of the earth. You are spirit, you are not a man, you are not a woman, you are not male, you are not female, you are not tall, you are not short, you are formless, you are colorless, living in a black body, in a female body. So, whilst you're living inside of that body, in that earth, seed are thoughts, time is process, harvest is the condition of your life. So, those things will not stop whilst you're living inside of that human body. Now let me take it backwards so that I can explain my story. The condition of your life will not change. It will be the same. As long as you keep thinking the way you think, sowing the thoughts you are sowing on a daily basis, your condition will never change. No matter how much they pray for you, they can put oil on you, you can drink that oil, but unless you change how you think, you can't change how you live. That's how powerful the mind is. The mind is your soil. Thoughts are your seeds. The conditions of your life, they will remain the same whilst you're still living inside of that human body.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Daniel Mokoena. Give him a round of applause. We travel all over the world, and Brother Dan's area is healthy, mindset, team building, and he's also a John Maxwell certified coach and mentor. So again, we're looking forward to adding value to your small team, big teams. And again, let's give it up for my brother, Dick. I'll tell you around so that